Welcome back to the OPL. We're about to get into Game 2 of TM Gaming taking on Legacy. I'm still Spawn, joined by Ejim.
Still Ejim.
And I like that build. The reason I like the Rylai's into the Ginsus, I'm going to talk about it. Ginsus gets double procs because you're a melee champion. Okay. Very important to note. As well as
does
the
that double proc on your
as in like you charge it twice as quick. Yeah. And then Rylai's with your ult when it's shooting lightning bolts off, that's going to slow him every time. The guy's a genius. Pull it out in top lane.
It's almost genius just because you can't actually control the ulti.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could be trying to trade in the wave and then your ulti just hits the range creep and you're like, foiled again. The meddling minions.
However, we are into Champion Select for game number 2 here. Galio as well as Rakan going to be taken off the board very quickly. Now we're slowing down a little bit. Rakan being banned by TM. A lot of respect shown to Cupcake.
Yeah, definitely is a good Rakan player there. Potentially just wanting to deny Lost the Xayah as well. Haven't picked that one up too much recently, but did have a great game on the Kalista last game. We didn't see any AD carry bans, which is the most interesting thing for me in this draft, is that neither team banned an AD carry, and then they picked the Tristana, knowing full well that Legacy would pick up the Kalista, and they said that was a good matchup that they liked. They just wanted to scale through the early game, but unfortunately got cheesed on the way to lane.
Is it cheese, though? Like, let's ask the honest question. Because to me, if you get a ward on Raptors, a ward on red buff, that's actually smart play, not cheese.
I want to rephrase myself. Yeah, that's not cheese. That is very good read. Choo-Choo's would call that cheese. We can talk to him on the analyst desk. He thinks if you pick a front line and a scaling AD carry, that's a cheese composition. But moving on from that, yeah, very good read of them. Had the wards, had the vision to be able to do that, so...
We are getting word that he's not here to defend himself, but I assure you he'll be back after this game, so I'm sure he'll do it then.
Oh.
Shen, Elise banned away, as well as, for some reason, Jace, as well as Maokai. You can see top lane Tally instantly locks in Jarvan. A little bit of a flex there between Carbon and Tally, potentially.
Yeah, both good Jarvan players there. Pretty standard tank, has decent matchups in the jungle and the top lane, so easy first pick there. I'm surprised they didn't pick up an AD carry here, but...
Does it clear well enough now? That was always the big question about Jarvan.
I don't think he's an A-tier jungler. I think Elise and Maokai are definitely like the S-tier here, sorry. Okay. And then you have the likes of the Gragas, the Rek'Sai, the Sejuani, so I think they only picked that there because of the flex factor. They would much rather have something like the Sedge or the Gragas, the TM have taken away after they did the cheeky Draven hover.
And this is my theory. You can tell me if my theory is correct or not. Ooh. But when you pick a flex between top lane and jungle, and the top laner locks it in, I always assume that the jungler is going to play it when you have both picks available, right? So right now, I'm saying that that is not a flex pick. Only is 100% playing Gragas. He just didn't want to pick his only... no, so I'm saying... Praedyth picked it because only wants to play it. So like, it's a flex, but it's really not. It's just a jungle pick.
I don't think that. I think you have 40 seconds for each pick. If you have 2 picks, that's like 2 separate things of 40 seconds, right? So I think you just talk about what you want to pick and you just use the time. I don't think you have enough time to debate whether like the semantics of who gets to pick the champion. Because at the end of the draft, you all get to trade anyway. I feel like that's a little bit of an overreach there. I don't know.
Maybe the Chiefs don't. Obviously, other teams pre-plan their drafts and come to the game very prepared. Chiefs, of course, just do everything on the fly on the stage. Kalista as well as Orianna lock in, so a takeaway from Shock there.
Yeah, take away the Orianna. We have leveraged some criticism at him in terms of his small champion pool. They do blind pick the Lulu again, which didn't fare too well in the last game, but coming into the day, you did say that you would like to see TM play these protect the AD carry compositions again, and they have just blind picked the Lulu the second time, knowing full well that they will get the Kog'Maw or the Tristana.
And I'm so happy that you brought that up, because now I think that they've done it in a correct way, in a smart way, where they get to ban supports out.
Yeah.
Because Legacy have picked, a flex as well as a mid laner. So now you hit Cupcake's champion pool. They have already got rid of the Braum. I want to see them get rid of maybe a Taric or something along those lines.
I think you get rid of the Ali.
Ali?
I guess Cupcake more known for his Taric than his Alistar, but Taric has a harder time getting onto the backlines. But if they do have the Jarvan engage already, potentially Taric can be used as follow-up engage, have the ulti so that they can commit to the team fight without getting punished. They already do have very reliable engage tools.
And I think that Ali is easier to disengage with Gragas, is my opinion. I've been told by Jish I'm not allowed to color cast anymore. So as a play-by-play caster, that is my opinion. Do what you will. Camille taken away from Praedyth, as well as Gnar taken away from Tally. See what the last ban from Legacy is. It's going to be Karma. So hitting Shock's champion pool even further. Galio, Orianna takeaway, as well as Karma. I think he picks Syndra. I would say Syndra. It's a better matchup against Orianna.
How does the Zilean matchup go? As he does hover the Syndra, so...
Sorry, no color points. I think Syndra is a pick. You can tell me whether it's a good matchup or not.
Syndra, good matchup into Orianna. I'm
Cool.
not sure about the Zilean. There it is. I called it. Your color casting is wrong. There we go. They do lock in the Zilean. Very known for his Zilean play is Shock. So Fish likes to call him TikTok Shock, and he's got a big smile on his face as he has picked this one up here. So they are all inning on this Protect, the low team composition again.
So what do Legacy go towards right now?
They need Engage. They need Engage. They need to be able to get on this Kog'Maw. Or potentially, okay, I think there's two schools of thought here. As they are hovering the Thresh, will be a good bully matchup into the 2v2. If you pick more Engage, you're completely reliant on that Engage working the first time. They have the Zilean ult, they have the Lulu, and they have the Gragas disengage. If you don't get it off immediately and Kog'Maw doesn't instantly die, you lose the team fight. The other school of thought is you pick to not 5v5 this comp, because they do lock in the Zac, so they have gone for the hard engage. Potentially, you put Jarvan in the jungle, you pick a split pusher, although it would be blind, so potentially counter pick coming out of Praedyth, and you look to split up this comp. We were talking about last week when they played it. This composition from TM already is greater than the sum of its parts. If Lulu and Zilean can't be there to defend the Kog'Maw, then he's not going to do as much, so that is the two school of thoughts, and Legacy obviously opting into the hard engage here.
And Kled will be locked in for Praedyth in response to the Jarvan. Swiper played it into Tally, and I think solo killed him up in that top lane.
Big Swips?
Yep.
Big Swips always gets a solo kill. Does he have the most solo kills in the league?
I think he would certainly be up there. As far as top laners go, I would definitely give him the most solo kills. As we look down the lineup, it is going to be Jarvan, as well as the Zac, Orianna, Kalista, Thresh. So a big team fight comp, as you said. A little bit of Wombo in there with the Orianna, and then they're two heavy divers, as well as the fact that it's going to be Kled, Gragas, a little bit of TikTok Shock action in there with the Zilean, Kog'Maw, and Lulu. So a very heavy Protect the 80 carry comp, especially with Gragas. Great disengage.
Yeah. And the big thing I want to note is that Low is taking the cleanse and Tegan is taking the heal. So they're opting in for that cleanse, so it means their 2v2 matchup in the bot lane will be even rougher. Kalista Thresh, very big bully matchup pre-6, and even at level 6, right? The Lulu Kog want to survive this lane. They don't want to have a disastrous pre-minion level 1 and get put behind already. They want to just be looking to farm up as much as possible. They don't want to be trading with the Kalista Thresh. They have the Ignite, they have the kill pressure. Just want to scale up. If they can make it through this early game and maybe Shock can steal another Baron or something with a Zilean bomb there, if they can survive, then I feel like they're in good stead.
And at the same time, criticism from myself on the fact that Cupcake obviously couldn't play Thresh.
Yeah.
He's trying to prove me wrong. I think this is going to be his first Thresh game of the split. Kalista Thresh always been a popular lane there, and you said does have bully potential.
I think, honestly, Cupcake and Thresh we talked about it. He never really played the Thresh, but coming back from Rift Rivals, I think that was kind of the turning point mid-split. Coming back like week 6, week 7, he really started to pick it up. I'm now talking from knowledge behind the scenes. He's showing it on stage here. But never just never used to touch the champion at all. Now does have the confidence to play it in the OPL. Picks it up, does go the coin build, which is fairly interesting.
I like it when my Threshers go coin in solo queue. Otherwise, they just mark up my creeps. However, as we get onto Summoner's Rift for Game 2 of Legacy versus TM Gaming, Sarian is standing alongside Legacy's coach, the big brain, Soulstrikes.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Soulstrikes. Congratulations on the first game win. Last week, you had a bit of a surprising loss against Avance. What did you and the team have to look at and reevaluate coming into this week?
We just have to focus on like enemies' win condition and recognize how they want to play, because AV had very strong like mid to late game as well, and we just brute force ourselves to we just didn't play through our win condition, and I just need to teach the boys how to play through our win condition.
I also wanted to ask you about the Thresh pick on Cupcake, because it's something we haven't seen too much of, if at all. So what was the reasoning behind that, and have you been practicing that a lot?
Yeah, we've definitely been practicing it a lot, and Kalista Thresh is one of the very strongest duo in the bot lane, and Cupcake felt he was comfortable on playing Thresh today.
Awesome. Well, best of luck with the series, and thanks for talking to us.
All right, cheers.
All right, so it's going to be blue buff start for Only, as well as Raptor start for Carbon. No deep vision this time around. Super Leash is coming out. No, you wanted to talk a little bit about brute forcing, Agent?
I want to talk about brute force. Soulstrikes used those words, and as we watch this game, I'm going to make another prediction.
Yep.
Carbon is the brute force Zac. As that, got very low, and he didn't finish off his race. He is the brute force Zac. When it gets to team fight phase, if we watch Carbon, he will E in, and then he will get disengaged, and he will walk away, and he will E in, and he will get disengaged, and he will walk away, and he will just keep Eing in. And that's his playstyle on Zac. He just consistently looks for these engages. So,
and it has been made easier by cooldown reduction being added to a lot of the tank items. In the past, Zac used to sit on 0% cooldown. This is just fact, not opinion. Now, however, does have things like Night Vow, Warmog's Armor that do give him cooldown reduction, so it does allow for that playstyle.
Yep, definitely. As we look to see junglers pathing on opposite sides of the map here. Nothing too fancy. The level 2 will come out of the bot lane for Lost and Cupcake first. Cupcake actually missed XP because they got the Super Leash, and he tried to hover around the red buff and make sure it didn't reset.
And Carbon has gone for a half jungle clear whilst only is full clearing. This is going to put Carbon away from any camps, as well as a very hard gank in the bottom lane if they're going to go for it. We'll see whether he does pull the trigger.
He will. They do have the cleanse onto Low, so this E will knock him up, but the hook won't be able to do much. Well, they do flash forward play,
and all of a sudden the rubber arms do come out. Low is very low, but we'll be able to survive that game.
Yeah, Cupcake didn't even throw the hook. I think a bit of misplay from him there. Could have burnt the cleanse as well as the flash, but Low already very low, has to pot. And once again, in this matchup where he doesn't want to fight, he opted in for the Doran's Blade. I feel like that's fairly greedy.
Talk to me about Doran's Blade versus Boots 4. When you guys played this, I believe Raze went Boots 4 on his Cogmore. What's the thought behind that?
I think it just allows you to do better dodge trades in the lane, right? You have more move speed, you can poke your head in and out of these fights. And you do have the range advantage onto the Kalista here.
Carbon and only ships in the night.
He does get spotted with the ward.
Did he get spotted out there?
Yeah, he would have.
So we'll see whether they can capitalize on that.
Both get spotted. But yeah, I think it just gives more sustain overall, especially in a matchup where you potentially want to get an early base off. Lulu wants to reset, wants to go get a GP10 item, potentially running GP10 runes on this matchup here. And Low wants to be able to get potentially like an early Vamp Scepter to go into the Bork to sustain through the lane. So it gives you more regen if you get a base on.
Gank is coming into the mid lane. That is a flash body slam. Slow does come out, and all of a sudden, Claire also has to burn the summoner spell. So once again, only trades his summoner spell for the mid laner of Legacy.
Yeah, round 2. Did it last game again. He's looking for a repeat. He did get spotted by that ward, so Claire knows this is coming. Hovering on the right side of the map again. Round 2, Only just chasing him out of lane.
I mean, that is very good out of Only. If he even denies 1 CS, I would say it is certainly worthwhile. You can see Claire doesn't want to take barrel damage, so he'll be nice and patient and will eventually come back into lane. CS values across the map slightly in Legacy's favor, although it seems that they have bigger waves everywhere apart from maybe the mid lane.
Carbon repeating back onto the bottom side. I was going to say Praedyth is very low in this matchup, and Tally has a pushing wave.
Tally going aggressive here. If he can kill him with this pushing wave, it will certainly be a big deal. However, he does live slightly. Going to have to burn TP to get back up here, and the wave will freeze just outside of turret, so not all that bad for Praedyth.
If Carbon was pathing towards the top side of the map, then potentially they could have looked for a 2v2 dive there. Praedyth way too low to be able to contest that one. Potentially looking for a TP and then immediately gank with Only.
Yeah, because Tally doesn't have any mana, so if Only can get on top of him, they will be able to fix that one up. However, is not the case, and now Carbon looking for a big play bottom lane. Only level 3 to the level 5 of Only, but it is not going to matter because, as you said, they've been zoned completely off the turret.
But they're only 10 CS down. The big thing here is the turret damage. If they can survive through this point past the level 6 and not lose their turret, then they actually are in a fairly decent position. Thresh, Kalista, really potent bully lane. Carbon, as you said, already put himself behind to get the Legacy bot lane ahead, so they are down in CS. They are down in chip damage on the turret, but if they can survive, if they can actually hold this one, then we'll be okay for them.
And you can see that Tally also walks back to top lane, so they still do have that teleport pressure, whilst Praedyth had to burn his to catch the big wave. Wave pushing into Tally shouldn't cost him all that much.
Yeah, and that just makes it even harder for the TM spot lane. The cleanse still up for the Cogmore, but once these top laners hit level 6, Jarvan has that Cataclysm, has the ability to keep pushing in Praedyth in the top side of the map. Will have TP advantage to make a play on the bottom side, and they did ban away the Shen in the first part of the draft there, so there's no kind of ultimate bailout button for the bottom lane there. They don't have that extra safety net, so they will be very wary of that.
See, Claire without flash is being targeted by the next gank for Only. That wave will slowly push back, and they've got good vision on that side of the map. You can see double pink wards returning around the map, checking in on CS values, 49 to 46 in the top lane. Praedyth slightly ahead now because he burnt that TP, but the big advantage is in the bottom lane for Legacy and the jungle for TM. That's why the gold leads are so similar at this stage.
here as Only walking towards his blue buff. Shock places a ward on the defensive side of the map there. A bit of protection for a wraparound gank for Praedyth there, but Only, as we said, taking away this blue buff. Gonna give it away to Shock.
All right, so we're saying that TM Gaming is a very late scaling comp at the moment. Zilean, the more the game goes on, gets better.
Yep.
You know, Lulu Cog. Do you think that Legacy need a force anytime soon? That brute force that Lucio was talking about?
Yeah.
Or can they continue to scale as well?
I think continuing to scale would be a mistake. They are a level 6 comp though. Zac is still level 5, Kallista's level 5, Thresh is level 5. Once they get that Fate's Call, as Carbon may actually get a pick here. He doesn't see T-Gun yet. Now he does.
Yeah, so all of a sudden they face check. He might be able to get the slam onto the Kog'Maw. Cannot, gets polymorphed and the big shield come out. However, they all flash onto low. It's going to be Only coming in here. Teleport is also being channeled and Lost flashes forward, but I don't think he's going to have enough. We'll be able to get the slowdown onto Only if he wants to. However, they might just settle for taking that first turret. Tally continues onto T-Gun and Lost grabs first blood.
Yeah, Tally completes his teleport there. Praedyth didn't have it. He tried to ulti to cancel, but doesn't quite get it. I think Tally just 1 second away from getting his TP cancelled there. Praedyth will be able to push in this top side of the map, but that is another kill onto Lost in the early game here. Does reset once again by himself with Berserker's Greaves. Same build as last game. But really nice flash fly out of Cupcake there to land the Zaki straight on top of that. Great communication with the support in jungle. Low didn't have flash to get over the wall.
And they are walking back towards bottom lane, Ejim. What does this tell you? No lane swap this time around coming out for Low and T-Gun.
Yeah, well, Praedyth already had the shove on the top side of the map, and they knew Taylor was resetting walking up there. Zac is coming out of base. They wanted to catch this really big wave. They knew they were already so far down in tempo because they lost the kill, but if they went top, they would have just been matched by Legacy.
Only with no smite, trying to grab himself this blue buff. Carbon is going to be able to steal it if he wants to. Doesn't get it, left it on 5 HP. Maybe that's why they don't look for the Baron, although now Shockwave available, flashed away by Only.
And burning the Gragas flash is really important. If they have one engage tool, it is the flash body slam out of the Gragas there, so that summoner is vitally important for Only to have pressure on the map, so that one being down, very good for them.
And you can see now that really low. Does leave room for Legacy's Carbon and Tally to push into the blue, red buff. So even though blue buff stolen away from Shock, sorry, it means that Carbon will get level 6 on that red and potentially can look top lane.
Praedyth's going to face check him here.
Pretty tanky dude, however, so Tally will go in. Actually, winning trade there for Praedyth by a long margin. Took no damage and half healthed him.
I'm surprised Tally actually fought for that pink. That was pretty greedy. He knew he had Carbon in the back pocket, but they were never really going to get onto Praedyth, and that big wave just crashed and he lost it on the wrist turret. Tally now 15, almost 20 CS down in this matchup.
You can see that the re-engage comes through. Tally again getting yanked back.
Looking rough.
And absolutely getting styled on in this matchup. T-Gun, once again being chased out of this bottom lane. Cupcake getting good vision for his team right now, as well as a little bit of control. But it is only 1,000 gold for what was a first blood and first turret. It should be closer to about 1,500–1,600.
Yeah, and once again, T-Gun is opting for the Ardent Sensor first. Pre-Sidestone only doesn't have flash.
Yeah, has been caught out. Cast goes down. Will be able to body slam away. T-Gun is there. Potentially gives him a shield. He gets the ultimate out of Tick-Shock Shock, but now T-Gun is caught out. Doesn't have any summoner spells, but they do miss that. And now they can turn around. Actually, they just do so much damage. And all of a sudden, the charge is coming in. Praedyth is here, and he gets onto the backline. That is absolutely massive. Carbon will look for the re-engage. However, does not get it. Successful disengage. Lost. Throws a couple of spears in, but a one-team fight for Legacy and teleport burnt for Praedyth.
That's not fair. That was the biggest latch I've ever seen. What was that? He just ran all the way across that thick dragon wall, but as you said, they burned the TP on Praedyth and then Shock TP's top to answer that.
And now all of a sudden they're looking for low. Carbon. Will posture aggressively forward. Nothing coming.
I mean, not getting anything out of that TP play to the bot side and then having to expend another one top side of the map means they just concede complete control of the bottom side here, giving up the air Drake. Cupcake and Carbon going to hit this one. Going to do absolutely no damage between themselves. Lost is going to pick this one up.
And as you said, what was 1,000 gold lead now about 2,000, which is a big deal, especially given the fact that they use more resources, as well as losing an air Drake. So tempo definitely on the side of Legacy right now.
Yeah, and interesting to see what their next big play is. Low and Shock, the carries of TM, both have their flash available, and Claire has his, but Lost doesn't. Claire sitting on no mana right now, so probably going to push in this wave and look for a reset. He is backing on a ward.
So if Legacy were a level 6 composition, did they get enough out of those ultimates coming available on the map? Is 2,000 gold really all that much that they can feel comfortable in this late game? Or do they still need to look to push the tempo as the items are starting to be, nearly completed for the TM lineup.
Yeah, I think the play was good, and if you look at the state of the map, if you look, they got the first brick, they took a dragon, they've been slightly roasted by Riot RNG, and they just got an air drake for themselves. If that was an Infernal, you would think that they were in a very good position, but the gold lead doesn't really reflect the advantage that they have here. They are up in tempo, they do have the control, they're in the driver's seat, so they're going to be looking to continue making these plays. Only is in the top side before Carbon is.
You can see they're rotating Shock up as well. Carbon will look
Shock
to face check, gets spotted out. So probably nothing coming in this way. Although, wow, Cupcake, that's bold.
They do have Fate's Call though. He's just going to get ripped out of this one. Can they get onto Lost? They can't. They blew all their CC. So Claire gets a free shove in the mid lane here. He was kind of unlucky for Shock that Carbon swatted him out there, walking up the river. He would have had absolutely no idea, and they would have been able to engage onto the Zac, but instead they have to go on the Thresh, blows the Kalista ulti.
However, does that mean that now it's a free farm lane, since that the Kalista ulti is gone? Does that mean that the Kog'Maw just continue? Whoa! Big double bomb coming out of Claire there. So do they really lose all that much?
Well, it was just a window of opportunity for TM. They are on the back foot, and so they were looking for a play, and it didn't eventuate, so they do kind of concede one wave that gets shoved into the turret on the mid lane. And they do shove in the top lane with their duo, so it was just a missed opportunity, I think, there.
You can see
Legacy are giving them the same treatment.
Yeah, so we'll see whether it does eventuate. Two members stuck underneath the turret. They're going to engage aggressively into Shock. Dodges out of the Elastic Arms and flashes the hook. So you can see that right now, Lost gets access to the turret, but really not all that much coming of that play.
Yeah, and I'm most interested to see what's actually going to happen in this bot lane, because Praedyth was winning this 1v1 pretty handily. Tally has base and got himself a Ninja Tabby, but all this play on the top side of the map means that these top laners are just on a complete island right now. We'll see if Praedyth can get much done. He is walking into the bot side of the jungle, potentially going to look for a flank onto the Orianna here. She does have flash, but they don't have any vision of where the Kled is, as he is just stealing the Raptor camp. Carbon won't be happy about that one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
uses his time instead to go into the jungle, do some counter jungling. Red also available, but doesn't go for that one. Maybe a little bit too big a fish to fry at this stage of the game.
Yeah, they don't have vision of Carbon. They probably assume that he's around the blue buff, because Claire just walked up towards it and is shown in mid lane with that buff on him right now. But TM are doing a pretty good job of protecting their bot lane right now. Legacy haven't been able to pull the trigger on a big play since they broke first brick on the bot side of the map. So next base, I'm assuming Low is going to reset and potentially pick up his first item. The same for Lost. He will be picking up his Bork. Will be ahead in the boots department. Potentially will have more gold. He does have 2 kills and up 20 CS, so we'll be slightly ahead. But as I've been talking about, T-Gun's probably sitting on enough gold to finish his Ardent Sensor, so...
Hook does land there onto the Kog'Maw. He will be played back. Low takes, half his health in damage, nearly all of it, but turns around and returns a lot of damage onto Lost as well. They will have to back away from this, although now Carbon has been spotted out on the red buff. Will be able to stun up Shock, but you can see that the repetitive bomb spam coming out of Shock. Oh, he mucked up his first body slam. Well, you hate to see it, but will get passived, and all of a sudden, if they don't burn teleport, Carbon will die here to a double bomb. We'll see whether he goes for it. There it is. Shockwave is burnt by Claire to try and get a return kill, but that is absolutely massive for the mid laner of TM Gaming.
Yeah, and that's pretty huge for TM. Shock is using all his priority in the mid lane to constantly float up to the top side of the map to protect that bot lane. We saw in the 2v2, the hook lands, Cog gets completely chunked out, but because Shock is constantly pressuring, he has the priority on the Orianna, and to be constantly helping out his bot lane and then get a return kill on Carbon, who greedily overstays for the red buff. He's now down 2 levels, 2 only, so quite a big swing out of TM there. It only gives him a little bit of the belly dance.
Yeah, talk to me about this. I mean, Only is showing top lane, I presume, to only keep Low safe farming that wave. I mean, that's a big investment for Only. His whole bottom side of the jungle is available.
Yeah, I guess he is sacking himself in the XP and farm department. Carbon will probably catch up based on the completely broken, I might add, the catch-up XP in the jungle. But because Praedyth is just handily winning the bot side of the map, he is even in CS now, but time and time again, we've seen him push in Tally on the Jarvan, walk up, take the Wraiths, go back bot, get priority, push in, take the red buff, rinse, repeat. As Low actually hadn't got a shop in here.
Yeah, it doesn't have a shop, but T-Gun does get the shop. So that means Ardent Sensor is available. You talked about it as a break point. This turret will fall down eventually. You think it's just a matter of time. It's about what they can trade on the map. If it is only Low shop, maybe not worth. I don't know what your thoughts.
Yeah, and you do say the turret will break eventually, and that's kind of a fact at this point. They're going to lose it on this wave, probably. But the big thing is how long it's taken Legacy to actually pick this one up.
Ooh, and Low wants to go aggressive. Instead
Yeah.
of backing away and giving up the turret, he actually charges them down, Juggermore style.
Yeah, Thresh just can't waste hook like that. In this matchup, if you miss the hook, then you have absolutely no pressure. So they just need to hold on to their abilities, honestly. And then if Kalista has ulti, then Kog'Maw has to respect the fact that Thresh can get thrown into his face, land a guaranteed hook, and then the 2v2 will eventuate from there.
Kratos might have been caught out though, Ejim. All of a sudden goes into the jungle, looks to see if he can
Double
pick up a
bomb,
cheap
burning
hook.
flare.
All right, cool. He just ults away. Dragon is coming available. You'd have to think that it's not a big dragon if they're willing to burn an ultimate like that. Maybe another air or an ocean drake.
Yeah, Aero and Ocean. Legacy's bot lane are deploying to the top side of the map again, so it is an air drake. Nice prediction, so they don't care too much about that one, but yeah, they're really committed to getting this top lane out of turret. Potentially just looking for the Rift Herald as well. Top lane control does give you control over that area. But Zilean of all mid laners does have a really good time defending over walls and has that potential steal, potential pick off. Very safe to do damage over that wall, but they will get this top turret eventually. But as I was saying, it's not about the fact that this top turret is now gone, it's how long it took Legacy to get this, because Kog sitting on one item, Lulu already completed the Ardent Sensor to Cupcake, who's just sitting on a Ruby Sightstone.
Tally will flag and drag over the wall.
But yeah, this early mid-game point is when the Thresh Kalista is most strong, and this is the dangerous point for TM.
Have you guys done the mathematics on how valuable
No.
Ardent Sensor is?
No,
like, if you
absolutely
have
not.
Ardent Sensor Bork on your AD carry versus, Bork Zeal, like, who do you think wins now? Is it, is it just down to execution still?
I think it's honestly down to execution. The numbers, like, sure, you might do a little bit more damage, but the more relevant factor is Radith doesn't have the ulti, is caught out.
I mean, is fairly tanky,
Oh,
however,
Hook
and
misses.
Hook will miss.
Oh, nice one.
Carbon does use the ultimate to only get one, lets it channel for the longest time. Shock also cancels
Yeah.
TP, so they don't want to fight for this one. Instead, just content to scale and give over another air drake to the Legacy Lana.
Yeah, but back on your 2v2 point, I think the execution is the most
I
important
mean, I
thing.
said they were happy to
Oh.
scale. All of a sudden, Praedyth just dives in, still doesn't have the teleport.
dead.
Although Carbon falls down, and this is the Kog'Maw's time to shine. Rips Cupcake apart and does have to get face called out.
Kog'Maw is one of the best AD carries at chasing down opponents. If they use their CC ability...
Shockwave used just onto T-Gun, and all of a sudden, Claire,
Oh.
you're going to die for that. That is definitely not worth. Only goes in. He also gets chunked out.
Zilean
However,
ult.
does have the Zilean ult on him, so a successful defense.
Tally's going to flash. No, it gets stunned up. Nice stun from Shock there. Tally looking for the execute, the flash EQ onto only there. Doesn't pick it up, but yeah, Kog'Maw, one of the best AD carries at chasing down, can lay down his own slow. If you overcommit and don't actually get onto him, he has so much return fire. And as I was talking about, Zilean has such an easy time clearing things over
Oh,
wall.
look at him go.
He can do so much safe damage from a distance, clearing mid waves. Zilean, like a Victor, they don't even have to commit to actually clear it. He throws down a bomb on the wave, throws down another one, wave immediately gone. They didn't even get that mid turret.
And we were talking about team comps and how the sum of the parts, I mean, when they're together on the side of TM, they are so much better. Praedyth goes for a little skirmish. He's 2 levels up over Tally, so 20 CS and 2 levels, quite a big deal. But what I want to talk about is you kept mentioning, if Shock and T-Gun are with the Kog'Maw, you've already said he's so good at going forward. With that speed up out of Zilean, the biggest speed up in the game, as well as the Lulu speed up, I mean, that has to make him deadly in these little skirmishes.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, as a squishy support player, an AD carry that has the ability to frontline is honestly the most scary thing, because I can't do anything. If he has the cleanse available, Zilean can speed him. He has the Lulu speed, the Lulu shield to grant more attack speed, more lifesteal, does more damage, and then they have the Zilean ulti on top of that to keep Kog'Maw alive. He can honestly just frontline. He can just run up to Lost if Lost is clearing a wave, and he can just right-click him, and Lost has to respect the fact that if he tries to turn onto him, Kog'Maw's going to cleanse away, he's going to get Zilean ulted, they won't get the pick immediately.
And all of a sudden, these incremental advantages are meaning priority in lanes. You can see Praedyth nearly gets that turret. Mid lane was pushed to the turret as well. It seems like a matter of time before Legacy are going to get outscaled in this team comp.
Yeah, and honestly, they have been a little bit unlucky in terms of their Dragons. They got a double air drake for themselves when they picked such a priority bot lane. So they haven't netted themselves too much advantage. And yeah, team have done a really great job of stalling out this game.
But what dragon would have made a difference? Because if it's just double fire, right, you're gambling on a 1 in 16, although now only gets engaged on, but Carbon takes a lot of damage in return, and they're still chasing for him. I mean, Teleport is also coming in, although the Kog'Maw is dead. And as far as crucial parts of the comp goes, you just can't let that happen.
Yeah, we didn't get to see that one, but he doesn't have the cleanse available, so potentially just got picked off by the Kalista Thresh combination there. They don't have the Fate's Call, so probably just threw Thresh onto him, landed the hook, picked him up. He was alone catching that top wave, so potentially just overextended a little bit too far and gets punished there.
And with that, they burn another teleport, and Lost has access to this top lane turret. Feels like even though they're in a good spot, they just can't get people together.
Yeah, and these little errors are costing them big time now. As another hook lands, but onto only.
Oh, flag and drag onto T-Gun, takes half his health, actually makes him flash away as well. You can see at the same time, they're able to clear out top lane wave, and Carbon went a little bit low, so you have to think that was maybe a shock double bomb. And you can just see Kalista Thresh, such a potent combo.
Yeah, you literally cannot miss that hook. There's such a small window to flash as well. Low knew he was dead. If he flashed, he still would have been in flay range, so doesn't blow any extra summoners, just realizes, okay, I messed up, I'm dead, goodbye. We're going to lose a turret for that, as they do in the mid lane, and Praetor picks up his own in the bottom lane, so...
Still only 2,000 gold, Egypt.
Yeah.
I mean, as this game progresses, I mean, I feel like Legacy keep getting these advantages that you're talking about, and then I look at the gold, and it's still only 2,000.
Yeah. Nothing's changing. Praetor has a little bit to say about that one. He does have a CS lead, 30 CS, although on the inverse, Lost has that over low, and Clear is up a bunch of CS in the mid lane, so you would expect that to be up, but potentially Carbon did sack himself a lot. He's only down 600, 700 gold there, but...
Yeah, so let's check in where it is. About 2,300 is going to be on Lost. You can see about 1,300 on the mid laner as well.
Yeah.
At the same time, Praetor is up by a little bit, as well as the jungle. And T-Gun actually has a little bit of a a little bit of a lead.
Oh, cheeky 100 gold. I don't think it's too real. That is
when Cupcake's taken 3 turrets and T-Gun's taken 0, to have a lead on supports where so much of it is from structures, although that's
true.
Probably a color point, so I'll be quiet. Shock will get chased down and see whether he gets hooked here. He does. He still has the ulti available, will use it, so that's a lot burnt, and we'll see if they're able to get to him in time. He will flash away. Carbon is coming in. Double bomb misses, and all of a sudden Only is in big trouble. Shock will fall down. So many spears in him. He will get them ripped out, and a double kill picked up. Flashing forward is Tally. Low is in so much trouble. Burns their cleanse, but that is a quadra kill for the mid laner of Legacy Esports, and they will storm into top lane and take that turret.
And stalling this top lane inner turret is the bane of TM right now. Kog'Maw low got picked before, and now Shock does exactly the same thing. Same combination. The Thresh Kalista get up there, they loop around behind, get the pick, and that's going to be Baron for Legacy, and that's honestly such a huge swing point. The fact that TM was stalling so well, and Legacy now get to win the team fight, get all the gold, buy these items, pick up a Baron buff, they're going to find it so much easier to shove in these waves, especially in the likes of Tally, who is constantly getting bullied on the bot side of the map. This Baron buff means he will be able to match Praetor in the split push and won't be getting punished.
And what was 2,000 gold is now 6,000, and it all started with Shock getting caught out.
Yeah, absolutely. Just walks in. Really easy from Cupcake there. Really nice box there, so he spawns, immediately gets slowed. Allows Carbon to get this auto attack. And yeah, the ulti does miss from Only. Nice flash, but clipped with the Orianna combo. And look at Kalista right now. She gets the ulti, flashes forward so that Cupcake can get this hook onto Kog'Maw. He does have the cleanse, but there's nothing they can do. The Zax's on top of them. Pick up the team fight there as TM are looking for a dragon.
Yeah, this one is a fire, so they feel like they have to fight. Teleport is available for Tally, although no very good wards. Praetor's getting caught out again. However, it looks like they're just going to concede. Although he goes in.
Oh, Carbon does pick it up. He's dead, though.
Able to pick it up. All of a sudden,
Nice
Carbon
cancel.
does get turned on. They don't even go for him. Shockwave does go through. However, the ultimate is available, and now Praetor is on the back line. He will be able to stun up Cupcake, although Low is just getting absolutely shredded. Not enough items to keep him alive. And even though Praetor is ahead, he's not that far ahead. And it will be Legacy absolutely running riot. Their gold lead is too big. Tally picks up a double kill. And Carbon, as you said, is just going to force and force and force. It will be Shock getting away, but a 4 for nothing. And the Fire Drake going to Legacy.
Yeah, big steal out of Carbon there. Actually gets the steal on the Dragon. But the front line from Legacy is just so much tankier than TM, so Kog'Maw was constantly hitting Zac, constantly hitting the Jarvan, but just couldn't do enough damage compared to Kalista on the other side. Only fell so low, and Praetor was trying to 3v1 at one point. Their composition was just so split up. They want to be deathballing, they want to be centered around this Kog'Maw, and in these split fights, it just allows Lost to clean up the kills left, right, and center. Huge combo out of Claire, put Low really low at the early stage of the fight. They had to burn the Zillion ulti, and Kog'Maw, when he respawned, just did no damage.
And you keep mentioning it. You need to be as 5. And that is 2 team fights in a row that we've seen TM not be on the same screen as we have another look at this one.
Yeah, and you see T-Gun trying to help Praetor on the top side of the map here. Carbon comes over. They do know he's there. Comes over with a bomb, but unlucky. They do get that. As you see, Carbon is falling really low here, but almost one shot by Claire. Only in Praetor, the front line for TM are completely out of the Dragon Pit here. So Zilly and Lulu are trying to peel this Kog'Maw, but just have no one to tank the damage for him. He's getting no damage off there, and they just get cleaned up. Nice chase out of Legacy here. Zac, really easy chase. Tiny Zac there's charging up his E. I'm gonna go! I'm gonna get him!
Lowered himself over the map though. And you
Yeah.
can see Carbon, pretty tanky at this stage of the game. How did TM win a fight? I mean, is this just stall for 40 minutes and hope that it comes through in the end?
I mean, these compositions you do just want to stall until you come online, and they're definitely not online right now. They have that 10k cold deficit. And I think they were banking on the fact that Legacy were committing to the Baron and then going to reset, that they can maybe get a cheeky Fire Drake in there. They didn't eventually actually get the Dragon, and Legacy also got there with the Baron recall, so I think it was a pretty greedy call out of TM to actually contest that one.
Praetor again being
getting
kited out,
roasted.
actually gets destroyed, as you said, but Low now charging in. Still does a little bit of damage, although not as much as previous, and they've just been able to rip open the top side of the map off the back end of that aggression.
This is a really weird split from Legacy. They have the top laner and AD carry siege in the bot side, and then the other two front line in the Thresh and Zac just allowing Claire to hit that top lane turret. They do drop the turret as looking like they're going to get the bottom one as well.
Although the charge does come in, and
engage.
here's Praetor. All of a sudden, there is no damage threat available. Tally will get yanked back, bear trapped on a rope. But this is just the Kled trying to go forward. Now the Kog'Maw will be able to join, and Low comes in and will be able to do some sick deeps. Although Tally turns it around, nearly kills T-Gun, and now Low is so much in trouble, not able to get the ultimate out of Shock, and that will just be the team fight over. In fact, he ults the Lulu for some reason, and now Praetor's just going to die. I mean, that was a really strange team fight. Successful disengage coming out of Only, but T-Gun still gets hooked up. He will fall. What a combo coming out, and Only will be next. That's a big rubber arms coming out. Lost continually leaping forward, just doesn't get the damage onto Shock, and Only is still trying to run away from his own base. He's going the wrong way, and Legacy will look to clean up game 2.
Yeah, TM make the call to sack the bot lane inhib. They know they can't contest that one, so they just look for an all-in play on the bot side. As we were mentioning, Legacy had this really weird split going on, but they get onto the Java, but he's just too tanky. They can't actually get any of the damage down there. Kog'Maw and Zilean were still in mid lane, so it was just to support Lulu and a Kled whacking away on a tank, and they didn't do enough damage early enough and gave time for Legacy to collapse. They take all 3 inhibs, look for the reset, and then their next push is going to be game, I think.
Yeah, it certainly could be. At the same time, 3 inhibs down. What better position would you want to be in as a Kog'Maw?
Oh,
just get to eat
gold
super
lead.
creeps.
I'd like a gold lead if I was a
come on,
Kog'Maw.
mate. You're greedy. At the same time, no Baron available for a couple of minutes. Also, Dragon going to be coming up in about a minute and a half. So they do have a little bit of time to farm. Maybe it'll get them that half an item they need.
They have about a minute, I think. Legacy are redeploying on the map. They're pushing out all the waves, so they're going to grab their buffs. Red buff onto the Kalista. The blue buff isn't available, but it looks like Claire is going top to try and push that one in. And yeah, Legacy just looking for a little bit more gold. Claire did the Gromp, wants an item here, potentially recalling, getting himself a death cap potentially.
Certainly should be with how far ahead he is. He's 80 CS up, 5-0-5. If T-Gun so much as looks at the mid laner of Legacy, he probably dies.
Absolutely. And I mean, his score kind of reflects that. He's just been one shot left, right, and center this game. 0-5-2. Interesting build out of Cupcake here. You see a lot of Threshers currently go for like a Locket and then into something like a Night
Engage comes again. This time it's going to be onto Carbon. He will be able to Elastic Slingshot himself away. However, still so much damage coming out, but Tally flies into the back line. Absolutely one-shots Carbon before, T-Gun before he can get anything else off. And now Praetor falls down. Shockwave absolutely whiffs, but it does not matter because all the members are already dead. Shock comes alive for half a second, does a lot of damage, but still dies, and now it is Only. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to save TM Gaming this time around. Legacy, in 31 minutes, will look to pick up Game 2, the series, and all 3 points.
Yeah, and a much cleaner game out of Legacy here. Same situation as last time. They get that advantage in the bot side of the map. Cupcake and Lost doing great work on the Kalista Thresh duo as Tally, I don't know, there we go.
He wanted the double fist pump.
The 6-man roster. Little shout out to Babip maybe. There, but they, lost another stellar Kalista game there, and they're just winning across the map. There was a few points I feel like Tally was in a bit of trouble, but in the split push, the Jarvan versus Kled matchup there, Praetor was doing some work.
But it seems to be a characteristic of Legacy right now that they don't expect Tally to win lanes. Kind of what the Chiefs used to do to Swiper. They're putting him in bad matchups that they think has great team synergy. This time the Jarvan Orianna combo. And in the team fights, he outperformed Praetor.
I mean, yeah, in that last team fight we were mentioning, T-Gun just got absolutely one-shot off a Jarvan EQ combo into the Orianna. Completely dies. You take out the Lulu, that's a lot of extra effective health onto the Kog'Maw that could have been able to keep him alive, but yeah, Kog'Maw just didn't get to a stage where they could scale to the point where they want to fight there. And we mentioned it in that top side of the map, those 2 picks were really the big swing point in this game, where first it was low and then it was Shock in the top side of the map. They were farming up waves, a bit too pushed forward, and they get picked off, and then eventually they lose the Baron.
Yeah, TM still not looking all that happy with himself on the cameras right now. However, if you take last week's performance compared to this, I think that the execution of the Protect the AD carry comp, especially in Game 2, did look improved.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And they brought out a new pick. Instead of the Orianna, it got taken away by Legacy. They did show the Zilean in that same sort of role.
As the lineups will be shaking hands, you can see Carbon leading the charge there for his team captain.
T-Gun looks like he has a firm shake on him. That is a shake.
Did you see him bench like 120 kilos on Instagram?
Oh, okay.
Follow the goon. I mean, his Instagram is actually bloody inspirational. I cannot lift weights that heavy.
I can't. I don't know. You're looking at me. Like,
you go to gym every single day. However, that is Series 1 over. However, to break it down further, let's throw it back to Hingers as well as Jish and Juju's.
Congratulations to Legacy. Thank you, gentlemen, for the cast. And what were your initial thoughts on that before we go to the interview, Jish? Because did you notice anything out of that Legacy team today against this TM lineup that you felt was a weakness in the armor for them? Or was it pretty clean?
Well, actually, yeah. So the words from the interview that Soulstrikes gave sort of resonated a little bit with me, and he just had something. I'm gonna misquote him, but he said something like, "I just need to teach the boys how to play to their win condition," and I was like, "Wow." Yeah, no, that is like, obviously that's kind of your job as the coach, right? And like not to discredit him because it's like a really important point, and that's kind of that's exactly what they did in that second game. I think they just sort of played it real slow and calm, and then they're like, all right, well this is our time, this is when we execute, and the game went from being like real boring 3 kills to 2 to just over in the next 2 minutes.
Especially versus a Kog'Maw comp, you feel like you're on a time bomb that you need to make plays.
Time bomb against a Zilean, nice. I like that.
Well, on that note,
Sarian
is standing by with the mid laner of Legacy Esports right now for the interview.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with Claire. First of all, congratulations on the 2-0 win. Do you feel like this series was a bit of a confidence boost for the team after last week's loss?
Yeah, definitely after last week we didn't expect it, but we did expect to win this series as well, even though we lost last one pretty easily. I think last week was a bit of a slump week, and it is a confidence boost for sure, but I feel like we were always expected to win this series 2-0, so yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about the first game because even though you were up objectives and towers, there were some shaky fights that didn't really go in your favor. Are you able to walk us through what went wrong?
Yeah, so I think this is just an issue with, I would say it's like not respecting TP. Our bot lane didn't really have in mind that they could TP behind them, so we died like, I think twice because of that, and I think it's a really easy issue to fix, so next time we play a game, it shouldn't be a problem.
Well, next week is the last week of the regular split, and you'll be going up against Sin. What are your thoughts heading into that match?
It's always good versing Sin. I mean, we versed them twice last split, and we actually lost both times. However, we did beat them this split, so I don't know. I feel like they're kind of on an upswing right now, so I think they'll be a pretty tough opponent. However, I do believe we should be able to take the 2-0.
Well, congratulations on today's win, Claire, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. No problem.
Thank you, Sarian. Thank you, Claire. Seeming not particularly confident there, saying it's always fun to play Sin. Well, he was
being humble.
Yeah. Stay hungry.
He said he was like, we're probably going to 2-0 them though, so he wasn't that humble.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, fine, you win.
All right, let's get back to this game we just saw. Chooches, I feel like I cut you off there. Sorry, I apologize during the interview. But you were talking...
Time bomb.
Time bomb, yes. You were making a Zilean time bomb joke there.
Oh, I made the joke. He was making a good point.
He made the joke. But yeah, there is a thing where you fall, if you're versing a big scaling composition like the Kog'Maw, that a lot of teams will feel that they're pressured to make plays, and Legacy didn't do that. As we said, they scaled, the Orianna farmed really nicely, and then they executed a really nice top dive.
Do you feel like the Zilean comp fit in well to with the rest of what team were doing with the Kog'Maw? Because I know the casters were shouting it out, saying, "Look, this is how you keep the Kog'Maw alive. You just Zilean ult it."
Yeah, if you Zillion or Kog'Maw in a team fight, and let's say the Kog'Maw does go down, everyone's eventually just going to push up and surround this. I think it's like 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, so the Kog'Maw comes back alive.
Yeah.
But everyone's just going to surround this area, and to me, that doesn't really do too much for the Kog'Maw. I thought that they should have played the comp where. I think he was running Storm Raiders as well. So this Kog'Maw had a lot of movement speed buffs from the Lulu and the Zillion. And I think Ejim said it in the cast, but Kog'Maw had the ability to be a front line. He didn't need a tank. They ran the Kled. They didn't run really any front line. So we didn't really ever get to see that, this Kog'Maw running forward with this immense amount of movement speed.
Yeah, sort of, like the old Juggernaut composition we used to see where he was like the Juggernaut frontliner. But I think that maybe skipping over the other minor details, I think makes Zillion a really good pick is that obviously his move speed gives Kog'Maw more room to kite, but I think just like his double bombs create like a really good it's like almost like a good zoning tool. So I think that he does have obviously like the ultimate utility ability just to like revive the Kog'Maw, but he also has like good zoning, can help keep the Kog'Maw like running back. Obviously, it gets to a point where he's just actually moving too fast for a human to click with his Storm Raiders and his Lulu and his Zillion. But no, I think that Zillion does offer some useful utility outside of the ultimate as well.
So bearing all that in mind, a much closer game from TM in that second round, but it just was sort of one moment in the top lane which just blew it all wide open, Jish.
Yeah, so as I was saying, as like Soulstrike's mentioned that they have like a clear game plan. I think they've sort of reached it. Their carries are on 2 items now, and big shout out to Cupcake landing that ultimate. Obviously on a dead target, but like a millimeter of a hitbox.
Yeah.
And here it's just like it's a very nicely executed dive. They have all their waves shoved in. They get the rotation to top. They kill the first threat of the Zillion, and then
that's a clutch ultimate.
Following it up with just like CC after CC, massive ultimate from Tally, as you said, and a nice quadra kill to Claire. Definitely, they would just like recognize that this is the point where they're going to crack open the game, and from there, it just was like I think it was like 2,000 gold lead, then goes to 6.
Yeah. This is what this is the legacy that I know, and I think what everyone else was used to seeing until
last week.
Yeah, up until really last week. But everyone did their role very well. Brandon, Claire, 2 really solid games, just farming hard, and James securing them down in that last team fight, and lost the bot lane of Legacy doing what we know they can do. So this is reassuring for them and for me as a Legacy fan.
/ registered support player. Registered sub player for them. Chuchus, when you were talking before about the Zillion and the Kog'Maw interaction, did you feel like there was a time when Legacy were able to actually just take a fight because of the way they were playing?
So at this point, there's quite a big goal lead. As you can see, the Baron buff is on Legacy, so TM are trying to make something happen. They do lose the Dragon Smite War, but you can see the zoning tool from the Zillion doesn't really do too much because Claire hits a good shockwave, forces the Zillion ult, but Tally's already on top of it. It made him... He doesn't take too long to take the Kog'Maw out,
3
really.
hits, 2 hits.
This is purely gold lead from this point onwards, but that's what really cemented my my understanding of the Zillion Kog'Maw comp, is that once the Kog'Maw does go down, Jarvan is ready, just waiting there essentially for this Kog'Maw to come back alive and then put him back down. So I do agree with you that it was a good zoning tool, as we did see that it zoned the support player, but it was questionable. It makes me question of if they had even gold, how different that game would have been.
Yeah, no, I think obviously, it's a testament to their gold lead and the fact that they were winning the game for 20-something minutes prior to that fight. But a pretty decent fight out of Legacy in all. I think that they clearly had. I think actually you like laughed it off, being like, yeah, my analysis is this. But they had like damage threats across the board sort of thing. So it was actually more that all of their carries were doing like relevant and significant damage, and then with a big gold lead, it was just like far too much to handle for TM. And
similar damage stats from last game. I believe Klissa topping the damage again. Zac, though, didn't do too much damage. Those nerfs hitting him hard.
Yeah, that's what it is, the nerfs. That was slowed down.
It's the nerfs.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
the
was.
nerfs.
Slow down nerfs.
Wasn't carbon eating for the first 15 minutes of that game.
I will say, this is 2 weeks in a row though that team have tried this Kog'Maw comp game 2, and 2 weeks in a row where their game 2 has been much closer than their game 1. So potentially something for them to look forward to as they head into the promo relegation tournament.
Yeah, that's what you really just have to look at. They are still last. They're fighting with Regicide at the moment, even numbers, but they are down the head-to-head. But they have to be looking at that relegation tournament. I casted the OCS last night. Those teams look hungry for the OPL.
Woo! Do you think? I mean, as
do I think they can win?
Do you think? Yeah. Yeah,
do.
you reckon they can?
I reckon. I don't know how many people watch OCS.
I watched a couple of games last night. They were
But
pretty
the
good.
talent
yeah.
over there
Yeah.
is
Very hungry.
It's pretty good.
Brooding.
It's pretty good. There's new talent on its way.
Woo. And as a fan of you've obviously been a fan of young talent for a long time, Choo. So just I didn't mean like that. But anyway,
Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on. There's a tweet hashtag #ImOPL that has come in from Brody Cooper, who has said, "What makes meta meta? Is it raw numbers for champions or champions who complement each other in a team?" I think it's a third thing, Jish. If you want to break down this.
Well, I don't know what the third thing you're going to say, but in my mind, the meta is actually what's I'm going to say boring is an interesting answer. It's something that can be safely picked. It has like a lot of has like more flexibility than other things, and it's not like exciting or different. It's a thing that's going to work like one time, it's going to work a second time, it's going to work again and again and again. It's not going to be super hard punished. It's not coming out of left field or anything. It's the thing that on any given patch is just like stable.
Yeah, when you look at the meta, it's not really champions that complement each other. I think the special case is Lulu Cog. They kind of complement each other.
Thresh Kalista.
Or Thresh Kalista, but for saying that champions like Maokai are coming into meta, he individually is a strong champion because he's been buffed, or items around his itemization path are just good. But yeah, it's not necessarily how it synergizes with other champions, but how good it is as an individual.
The way I kind of think of the meta, and this is across all video games, right? When you're playing a multiplayer thing, it's not the meta, like literally, is the things outside of the game, right? So it's the stuff around the game that isn't actually you clicking buttons and pressing buttons inside the game. And what it is it's kind of for me, it's kind of the mind game, right? It's when you set up and you go in there, it's like they think I'm going to do this, so I'm going to try and do this other thing in order to get to them. I think it's just like just brain power.
To a degree, it's like the expectation.
Yeah,
So like you're like, okay, well, this is what everyone does, so this is like the first step, and then people develop the answer, which is this, and from that you develop the next
There's
answer
definitely
as well.
people who are solely driven just to not play meta. I know Tallywhacker specifically, a period of time did not want to play meta and purely just thought about what counters this OP pick.
All right, this is coming in from Chris Duncan. I play a mean Syndra support because we asked people for their off-meta picks. Either kill the lane at 6 and be an R bot lane for the ADC, or get ganked once and be useless all game. So I would argue...
I agree with that.
I would argue that this is not a mean Syndra support. I would argue this works sometimes and often just doesn't work at all.
It's mean to your team when you become like like a liability that loses the team the game.
Syndra press R, no counterplay.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of get from this. I mean, you can't build Ardent Sensor on Syndra in this meta. Ardent Sensor is kind of like the go-to item at the moment, so I don't know about that one, but hit or miss.
All right, hashtag ImOPL, or in Twitch chat if you want to let us know your off-meta picks or things you're playing out of role. But right now, we're going to throw it over to Serianne, who has some information on a PAX cosplay competition for us.
Thanks, Hingers. Riot is bringing Oceania's best League of Legends cosplays to PAX Australia 2017. Entries close midnight on the 17th of September, and the winning cosplays will receive flights and accommodation to Melbourne. For all the details on how you can enter and the contest rules, make sure you head on over to boards.oce.leagueoflegends.com. We'll be right back after this with AV versus Sin.
He's coming in, double bomb misses, and all of a sudden Only is in big trouble. Shock will fall down. So many spears in him. He will get them ripped out, and a double kill picked up. Flashing forward is Tally. Low is in so much trouble. Burns and cleanse, but that is a quadra kill for the mid laner of Legacy Esports, and they will storm into top lane and take that turret. Shockwave does go through, however, the ultimate is available, and now Praedyth is on the back line. He will be able to stun up Cupcake, although Low is just getting absolutely shredded. Not enough items to keep him alive. And even though Praedyth is ahead, he's not that far ahead. And it will be Legacy absolutely running riot. Their gold lead is too big. Tally picks up a double kill. And Carbon, as you said, he's just going to force and force and force. And Low comes in and will be able to do some sick deeps. Although Tally turns it around. Nearly kills T-Gun. And now Low is so much in trouble. Not able to get the ultimate out of Shock. And that will just be the team fight over. In fact, he ults. But Tally flies into the back line. Absolutely one-shots Carbon before, T-Gun before he can get anything else off. And now Praedyth falls down. Shockwave absolutely whiffs, but it does not matter because all the members are already dead. Legacy in 31 minutes will look to pick up game 2, the series, and all 3 points.